You have a way of making everyone feel better.
Well, if I can't, who can?
Cute. You can really be cute, you know that?
So I've been told.
No, but really, couldn't you give us some tools here, some methods we could use to at least keep this process of our personal evolution moving forward?
You do know that there is no right way to the mountaintop.
Yes, I know that. You made that clear many times. But surely you can offer us some options, some things we might consider.
With that caveat, here are 5 then. First, share your process. As spoken of in an earlier part of our exchange here, and referred to again just a moment ago, share openly and authentically with those whose lives you touch both your struggles and your progress on the path to full awakening. The choice to do so is both empowering and emancipating, unshackling in an amazing way the will within to express the divinity that is yours, and liberating in others their own desire and ability to also do so. Second, create a reason. The challenges of the path you have chosen may, on more than one day, hardly seem worth confronting unless you accord them greater meaning than the simple triumph over them. The question must be asked, why? Then your answer must be given. I tell you this, your path is not without purpose in the heavens. For every soul which would grow to know in its experience what it has always understood in its awareness serves not only its own agenda, but the superconscious will of the collective, advancing the evolution of a species even as its individual progress is attained, for it shall leave in the wake of its advancement the ladders and the stepping stones by which those who follow may do so ever more rapidly. Third, express gratitude. This is the most powerful tool you could be given. Gratitude can be a selected energy and not merely an autonomic response. When one actively chooses to be grateful for everything presenting itself in one's life, and I do mean everything, it sets up an energetic signature that washes over and impacts the energy of whatever is now arising. This can transmogrify, defined as to transform, especially in a surprising or magical manner, the presentation itself, to say nothing of one's entire life. Fourth, choose a state of being. Do this in advance of anything you know you are going to think, say, or do. Life has very little to do with what you are doing, and very much to do with what you are being while you are doing it. The surprising thing about this is that through your pure intention, beingness is transformed from a reaction to a creation. It is no longer something that arises out of an experience, but something that you put into an experience. And one final tool for integration. Go with the soul. Most often, you respond to whatever is happening in your life, whether it is an illness, a disappointment, a happy surprise, whatever it might be, from the logic center in your mind. You analyze the data that your mind holds regarding the experience at hand, and that is the place from which your reaction emerges. It is possible for you to cultivate the ability to respond from the wisdom center in your soul. Here, the data regarding the experience at hand is unlimited and expansive, and includes considerations and understandings that may not have been even conceived of in the mind. The soul is the place within which everything you know is already integrated, and simply awaits the outward expression of that. So take a moment whenever anything is confronting you, something that you call good news or something that you call bad news, and instruct your mind to let you act as if you are out of your mind. Then, notice your response emerge without thinking, producing a spontaneous demonstration of your soul's wisdom and awareness.
Chapter 31.
I love this. Now we're talking. Now I've got some equipment with which to finish climbing that mountain. This is great. And you know what? I actually came up with my own version of that last tool myself.
Really? All by yourself?
Well, it seemed like it was all by myself.
Yes, well, it's supposed to. Go ahead.
Are you saying that...
No, go ahead. Tell me what you came up with all by yourself.
Well, I guess I understood intuitively that there was one way that I could bring to my everyday life the experience of what I already know to be true. So I came up with, a few years ago, what I've come to call the magic inquiry. I use it to make an instant assessment of whether what I just did, am now doing, or am about to do is, well, here's that word again, congruent with my deepest desire. Before I sit down to watch a movie, for instance, or walk into a social situation, or prepare a meal, or have a conversation with a beloved other, or do anything at all that I have judged to be of here and now importance, I quietly ask myself, and what does this have to do with the agenda of my soul?
That's a great question that can open anyone to a powerful inner exploration.
Well, for me, the answer has almost always become clear immediately, because I know that the agenda of the soul is to express and experience divinity within me, through me, and as me. This instantly creates a context within which I can then create and experience the event at hand, or choose to eliminate it altogether from my doing this activity. The reason I've taken to calling this the magic inquiry is that it almost always works like magic, snapping my attention to exactly what is going on in the present moment like no other device I've ever found.
Or been given.
And I'm going to let that sit there. I'm just going to let that just sit right there.
A good idea. Another good idea that's just come to you.
You're being cute again. You're doing it again. I like that. I like that about you. So let me just ask you, what good idea I might just be given about this? How can I decide ahead of time what I'm going to be doing before I think something? I mean, your fourth suggestion a minute ago to choose a state of being ahead of time, including how you're going to be when you're thinking of something, isn't that asking a bit much? I can decide what I'm going to be before I say something. I get that. I can decide what I'm going to be before I do something. I get that too, but I don't know what I'm going to think until I think it. Am I making any sense here?
You are if you imagine that your thoughts are, most of the time, original. But the fact is, the vast majority of your thoughts are thoughts you have had before. This is because most of the events in your life are events that have happened before, in terms of type. More often than not, when an event of a certain type occurs, you immediately think what you thought previously about such an event. Very few of your thoughts are original, because very few of your experiences are original. Your life is on repeat most of the time. Since you know this is true, you can decide ahead of time what you are going to think the next time an event of any real consequence and any degree of predictability takes place. The master is the one who knows and chooses the way she is going to be in her thinking. Is he going to be calm? Is she going to be understanding? Is he going to be loving and accepting? Is she going to be accommodating and peaceful the next time such an event occurs in his life?
I got it, and I think that at some level I always understood that. This may be why I came up with a second tool on my own. That's a good one. Am I ever on my own?
No.
No. So here's a second tool that came through me then. I'll call this tool the 4 fundamental questions of life. 1, who am I? 2, where am I? 3, why am I where I am? And 4, what do I intend to do about that? I find that when I ask these questions of myself and answer them anew in each moment they're asked, I move almost immediately to a place of being. I hate to use that word because it's so overused and now almost trite, but I'm going to say it anyway, a place of being centered. I feel centered within myself and not nearly so intermingled with the mini-dramas and mini-dilemmas of life.
You're in this world, but not of it.
Exactly.
Those are 2 very good tools. They can really help you look at how you are using your time and what you are being while using it.
And now I have even more tools. All of us here can be on our way if we use even 1 or 2 of these ideas.
You can indeed. And of course, you're already on your way. But I understand your use of the phrase. I want to remind you that all of you are already awake. You merely need to begin acting like it. These tools can help.
This whole dialogue can help. The things we've been reminded of in the conversation with you can be immensely helpful. There can be enormous power in knowing and embracing some of the ideas found in this wonderful dialogue. Ideas like, you are not your body. Survival is not your basic instinct. The expression of divinity is. See the other as yourself. Life is eternal. And because you cannot lose your life, ever, you have nothing to lose by being compassionate, caring, and comforting in every circumstance. And on and on and on and on. All those wonderful messages. I'm going to conclude that if I simply used the tools I've been given in this life, if I found it possible to act more and more of the time as if I was already awake, I could feel free even while I'm in this body. You told me earlier that you would explore that with me. Am I reaching the right conclusion here?
You are. Freedom is not getting what you want. It is wanting what you get.
I've heard that before.
You've heard almost everything here before. You will feel joyous and free when you simply apply in your life what you already know. And, to offer one more repetition, the fastest way to apply it in your life is to assist someone else in applying it in theirs.
I see the circle. I see the whole circumferential process, and I feel helped and heard here. Thank you. I feel heard and really helped, and I think that's all any of us needs to feel to be willing to move on. So having said that, there's one last thing. This is something that I absolutely have to ask you because, sorry, I have to say this, it's something that's really bothering me about the exchange we've had here.
What's that?
What about heaven? What about coming home to you? This dialogue seems to have reduced dying to nothing more than a process of moving from one state of being, physical, to another state of being, metaphysical. That may be useful and even fascinating at some level, but whatever happened to coming home to God?